Evening, everyone. It's the Board of Trustees regular meeting. It's November 27th, 2018 at 7:30 p.m. on the dot. This is meeting number 2018-24. Please take the roll.
President Barry?
Here.
Trustee Vorder?
Here.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Here.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Here.
Trustee Desmond?
Here.
Trustee Fitch? We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. I'm informed by our clerk we have no public comments this evening. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Item 4, Fall on the Green check presentations. I'd like to call up anyone from Park Lawn Association who might be here today. And Brian, do you want to come up? And Tim? Hi, Steve. Steve Manning is our Executive Director with Park Lawn. And what's your name?
Jack.
Hi, how are you? We're so happy you're here. And Tim and Lindsay. So, Fall on the Green is over, and the fond memories continue, and it is a fundraising event. Lindsay, you want to talk about it a little bit, or Tim?
I'll just ask Lindsay to talk about it. No, it's a great occasion. Obviously, it gets bigger and better every year, and all the more so that we raise a lot of money for local charities.
So, Tim, how much have we raised?
I have no idea.
Well,
Here's where they get you. A big check.
Yeah, I'll get to that too. Okay, so our total amount for Park Lawn is $17,466.53. And for the Courage program, we raise $8,733.27.
anyone from Courage here?
It'll go up.
Anyone from Courage here tonight?
Bless you.
Now, there's a lot of hard work that goes into this festival. It's probably the biggest free festival in the south side, the south suburbs. Great thanks to Lindsay here, to Brian, Steve Barrett, the whole. Too many people to name out right now. There's a committee that takes care of this every year, that organises all the music and all the volunteers. We got volunteers from the Courage program, from Park Lawn, and from a lot of the local schools, from the local Mints clubs. So it's definitely a community event, and I'm just delighted to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Tim, I want to thank you for your leadership on the Special Events Committee also. And Steve, do you want to say a few words?
Courage.
Come on up, Courage. We have a big check to give you.
Oh, sorry, I'm late. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Steve Manning, Executive Director of Park Lawn. I'd like to thank the trustees and Mayor Burry for the generosity, and of course all the residents of Oak Lawn and all the officials. Park Lawn has been a member of the community since 1955, and through the generosity of partnerships like the Village, we're able to ensure that individuals like Jack are able to live in the community. He does live in a home in Oak Lawn with 4 other residents. It also provides opportunities for us to have folks like Jack work in the community. We have several dozen employment sites, many generous employers who've taken in our clients who now are gainfully employed. And also we have several hundred people at several of our day program facilities that learn vocational skills so that they can achieve their dreams eventually of working in the community as well. So we wouldn't be able to achieve that without the generosity of the entire community, who makes a big difference. So on behalf of Jack and all of our friends at Park Lawn, we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to come up and say a few words? Thanks.
Sorry I'm late. I was
Oh,
at a
no
Courage
worries, no
meeting,
worries.
actually. Thank you for your support for the last few years. We really appreciate it. Courage is a program for single women and children. We've been serving moms and infants and their children for the last 38 years. We help them with diapers, formula, wipes, financial assistance, rent, daycare, all kinds of costs to keep them, to make life a little bit simpler for them. So we're grateful to the support. We've run all these years solely on donations, so it's pretty amazing that we're still going. So thank you very much for acknowledging the importance of our ministry. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Brian, want to say anything? So this is primarily from beer sales, right?
Well, I was just going to say, this festival struggled about 10 years ago, and I think with the leadership of Tim recently, and before that, Tom Phelan, I think this festival, as Tim said, is probably the biggest free outdoor festival in this area, and it survives and is successful because of volunteerism, our vendor community, meaning the people that don't do business with the village, and as the mayor just said, beer sales. So I think those are the three components and why and I think everyone would agree, the musical talent that's brought in by Tim and before that by Tom is probably second to none. So
Thank
with
you.
that.
Thank you very much and congratulations. Let's give one more. Thank you. Cheers. Did you want a group picture?
Everybody,
Okay.
find the check. Squeeze them close like your friend. I can see everybody.
She got him. Okay, thank you. Good luck. Thank you. Enjoy. Lindsay, great job. Okay. Our next item on the agenda, I'm staying at the podium, and you guys with the cameras might want to keep them handy. I have a request to approve the Historical Preservation Committee referral for an honorary street name, John Siakotis Way on 54th Avenue from 95th Street to 96th Street. This was a 5-0 vote to approve. Petition number 2018-1. Peter Siakotis, is a petitioner in District 3. May I have a motion on number 5?
So moved.
Thank you. Trustee Streit made that motion, seconded by Trustee Olenichek. Any discussion? I know we're going to have some. Steve Radis, would you like to come up, sir? And Trustee Streit, would you care to come up, sir?
Sure.
We have some family members here today. And John, could you come up with your lovely bride and please stand up here? John has opened Freshline Foods in 1971, I believe. 1971, and it's a staple in all of our lives, not just where we love to shop, but we love to meet our neighbors there. And among the friendly faces was always your face and your family's face and all your employees. They were so kind, generous. I remember a 4th of July parade. It was so hot, you came out with ice cold water for the community, and you're always humble, always giving, always supporting our community in every way. And I just want to show our gratitude. We haven't voted on it yet, but I'm pretty sure we have big support. How do you like this, sir?
Did we spell it right, John?
So can you hold that up? And Steve, do you want to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor. John, Doris, Dolores, we want to congratulate you, Peter, on this honorary street sign. I had spoke with John several months ago when he had decided to close shop and retire and enjoy life a little bit. And believe it or not, John had several interesting offers for his place of business here at 54th Avenue and 95th Street. And I spoke with John and I said, John, we really would like to have, because we're going to be losing Fresh Line, which we're all upset about, I said, we'd like to have, still have a community grocer at that corner. And John thought about it, and he know a lot of the residents had said to him, John, we're going to miss you. We run up here for things that's so convenient and close to our house. And John and his family gave up a substantial amount of money to sell to Pete's Fresh Market, which is now going to be coming in, because he wanted to do the right thing for the village and all the residents that supported his business for 47 years. So I'd like to give John and his family a big round of applause for being such great neighbors.
I too would like to thank John and Pete and the whole family for their dedication to our community for so many years and decades, actually. Beyond just being the local grocer that people came to rely on and depend on and count on, they also were very focused on giving to the community. In the world that we live in today with big box stores, with corporate offices in other cities, one thing where it's difficult to make a connection, one thing you could count on with John and his family is that they would give to the local schools, to the local baseball, to the local charities. They were very generous to our community, and they will be missed. So we thank them for their years of service to our community. Thank you.
Just to piggyback on what Trustee Streit just said, oddly enough, this past Saturday was our annual Santa on the Green, and Lindsay Heilig, who you met earlier, had spoke to me a couple of months ago. She said, Steve, we got a problem here. What's wrong, Lindsay? She said, for the last, umpteen years, John from Freshline has donated all the eggnog and the apple cider. What are we going to do? So I called John at his house. No, I'm kidding. But so Pete's Fresh Market was kind enough to kind of pick off where John and his family left off. But we already miss all the generosity that John and his family have spread throughout this community for all those years. So again, John, thank you.
Would you like to say anything? Would you like to say anything? No? Okay, this is heavy.
He's a nice man.
Would any of the trustees care to say anything? Anyone from the board?
We're gonna miss you. Freshline was the only place I knew I could get cheese for Saganaki.
I could always order my unusual items. I have birds, and they like the nuts and certain kind of bread. And always were able to do that. Any other comments?
Yeah, John, I think you opened your store when I first became a policeman in Oak Lawn. Very quickly, I became a shopper at your store, and I saw your commitment to your business and to the community. I wish you best in retirement.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek.
John, I just want to thank you for all the things that you've done for my family. Being the youngest of 9, I learned how to add in your store because my mom would say, we only have a certain amount of money, and I'd have to add going up the aisles. It's still a thing I do to this day, but I've always enjoyed your store, the way that you've treated people, and even my mother, when she was on her own and needed help, you'd go out to the car and make sure she not only got out from the car inside, but you'd go out and make sure my mom got safely back in the car. And when she was not feeling well, you had groceries delivered to our house. So I appreciate you and what you stand for, and thank you, and enjoy your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's call the vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, one photo, please. Trustee Straight, can you get in?
It's nice.
Warm and fuzzy.
You'll pay for that, Tom. Thank you. He's doing okay, slowing down.
I do miss going over.
I know, I know. A lot of love, a lot of love. Thank you. Okay. Item 6. Here it is, thank you. Approval of the meeting minutes, special meeting minutes 2018-21 dated November 6, 2018. May I have a motion on 6, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, trustee Warder made that motion.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Stalker. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond? Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
7 is approval of the meeting minutes for the special meeting minutes 2018-22 dated November 13th, 2018. May I have a motion on 7?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Stalker made that motion. Seconded by
I'll second, Mayor.
trustee Vorder. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Abstain.
Trustee Phelan?
Abstain.
Motion passes 402.
Thank you. Item 8 is approval of the meeting minutes for the regular meeting minutes 2018-23 dated November 13th, 2018. May I have a motion on 8, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Warder made that motion, seconded by trustee Stalker. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Abstain.
Trustee Phelan? Motion passes 402.
Thank you. Number 9 is new business by village trustees. Trustee Desmond.
I have no new business.
Trustee Oliniechek.
I have just one quick thing. The aggregation company that we picked, which is MC Squared, sent out a mailer that clearly has Village of Oak Lawn on it, explains what the program is and how it's now going to be using green alternatives for residents who want to use that. And if you want to opt out, you can fill out the form, check to opt out and sign and date it. But this is how confusing things get. The one that the village isn't going with is called Clean Choice, and they sent a nice letter, but if you read through the letter, you're buying green energy, but it's going to cost you significantly more than if you went with the choice that the village negotiated for you. I know energy aggregation gets very confusing, and this is why I warn all residents, especially seniors, if someone comes to your door and tries to sell you anything, especially energy, you don't need it, they're not represented by the village, it's not a good plan for you. If somebody is sending you something to say that you need to sign something to get into it, it's not representative by the village because the village's energy aggregation, you will automatically be on it if you do not opt out. So I just want to make sure that residents understand. I've had quite a few phone calls on this, and I know it's a very confusing thing, but it's very simple. With the Village of Oak Lawn energy aggregation through MC Squared, you're going to get the best negotiated price. It will never exceed what Commonwealth Edison's price is, and we will be using alternative sources, wind and solar. So you are going to be good for the environment, and the benefit to the village is participation brings revenue back to the Village of Oak Lawn, and it'll also get us certified as a green community. So MC Squared is the choice, and it has the official Village of Oak Lawn letterhead on it. If you have any questions, I know that there was a question to answer earlier today. There's going to be some information on the village website and also on the village TV station. But be very careful because it is tricky. And to give you an example, just figuring this one out versus this one, it would cost you an average of 50% more if you signed this sheet of paper and got into this other program instead of not signing anything and just staying with the. But the choice is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. District 3, trustee Straight.
And I just want to tag on to what trustee Oliniechek said, is that there was some questions about people's ability to opt into the program in case they weren't given that choice in the letter, because there was 2 letters. One was, what do you do if you have ComEd and you'd like to keep them, and you don't have to do anything. And the other was, what if you, get the multi-page letter and you're put in with MC squared and you don't want that, you can opt out. But there were some people that were wondering, how can they get into the program? And there's by simply, you could contact MC squared, whose email address is on the letter, and also their phone number. So just wanted to add that along. You can opt into the programs.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
District 4.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for explaining that in good detail. I've had a couple of inquiries and confusion once that letter went out, but I think it's been explained very, very well here. Thank you, guys. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. District 5.
Yeah, I wanted to mention it a few weeks ago on November 14th. Steve Radis ran a seminar for the Village of Oak Lawn in cooperation with the Main Street Board of Realtors and invited local commercial realtors to bring them up to speed of the advantages of living and working in the Village of Oak Lawn. Some of the facts that came out in the meeting were that I didn't know a lot of these. Oak Lawn is the 23rd largest municipality in the state of Illinois. That's 23rd out of 1,300. Almost 48% of the residents have lived in Oak Lawn for more than 10 years. That's the highest percentage in the state of Illinois and the 29th highest in the nation. Oak Lawn is ranked the 10th safest city in Illinois and the 57th safest city in America. We deliver treated Lake Michigan water to 12 surrounding communities, and we have a metro station that brings over 1,300 commuters downtown to downtown Chicago every day. Oak Lawn is the second hottest housing market in the Chicago suburban area, and downtown Oak Lawn was the hottest neighborhood in 2017, according to Redfin. At the meeting, we had representatives from Stony Creek Promenade on 111th and Cicero and the new development of 95th and Pulaski to discuss their properties and the cooperation they received from the village during their planning and development. The meeting was held right here in the boardroom, and it was filled. The questions and answer session afterwards was lively and showed that there would be a great deal of interest in our village. I'm sure we'll do a seminar similar to this next year. The program also was attended by Mayor Burry, Village Manager Larry Deegan, Terry Vorder, and myself. But I would like to personally thank Steve Bradis for all the hard work he put into planning and development of this program that was enjoyed and appreciated by all in attendance. Thank you, Steve. That's it.
Thank you. And thank you, Bud, as well. You worked hard on that, too. And what impressed me was the event was due to end at a certain time, but everyone hung around and asked questions. And, I would say 80% of people stayed at least a half hour over. That floored me. It was a really good program.
There was a lot of lively, active participation, and I think we showed some people things about Oak Lawn that they didn't know, and I honestly learned some things about Oak Lawn that I didn't know. So it was a great time.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Trustee Warder?
I was here at that meeting, but congratulations, it was a great meeting, a packed room. But one of the residents came into the room just by coincidence to see the meeting, and she was here, to sell her condo. But after that meeting, she says, I ain't selling, I'm staying. So I think that meeting carried a lot of weight. Good job.
Thank you. District 6.
Thank you, Mayor. I just had one thing. You may have seen in the news today, GM is closing 4 factories, laying off 10 to 12,000 employees. And it kind of dovetails into the discussion we've had several months ago about trends, mega trends, millennials, shared driving, and the fact that Oak Lawn relies so heavily on car sales for our tax base. And for those who don't know how heavily, it's really heavy. Brian, I don't even, the percentage, 60%, 50%. I mean, where are we at? I just think that people need to understand the pressures that we are facing as a municipality and the efforts that we have to extend to diversify our base, to develop properties that we own, to work with developers to come in and really transform, because I just think this is the beginning of something. It's not a blip, because the millennial generation is not into owning things. They want to rent, they want to share, they want to travel. And the mayor and I had a discussion about this. We need to think now about things that we can do and not wait until the change, because I'm reminded of the changes we made in 2008 in advance of the downturn that really helped out. But I just want everybody here to be mindful of that. And one of the reasons we got rid of the vehicle stickers, in addition to the police chief telling us how anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000 people didn't pay for them, we just knew that trend was going to be negative as well. So I really want to impress upon everybody here and all the residents of Oak Lawn. We always talk about Shop Oak Lawn. We always talk about supporting the local businesses. It's going to be more important than ever in the next couple of years. And, we have tough sledding ahead of us. So don't mean to be doom and gloom about it, but I think we always have to be mindful of the pressures we're facing. That's it.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
if it's okay, I apologize. If it's okay, I'd just like to speak about what Trustee Stalker had just said. Trustee Stalker was kind enough to give me the credit for the realtor meet and greet, and I appreciate that, Bud. But the truth is, Bud's in the middle of an election coming up in a few months, and this whole meet and greet wouldn't have even gotten off the ground without Bud's leadership and hard work. So, Bud, I'd like to thank you for the role you played in getting it done and your leadership. So thank you.
All right, I'll get you the $10, I promise.
It was 20.
All right.
Okay. We're moving on. Village Manager's Report, Larry.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. It's my honor to ask the Honorable Judge Cunningham to come to the podium, please. And while Kevin is making his way up here, or Judge Cunningham, I'd like to just tell the board it's been a distinct pleasure for Chief Palmer's investigative unit, and myself through the years. We've worked closely with Kevin. Kevin has always been supportive of the Oak Lawn Police Department, which I'm most appreciative of. And for the residents of Oak Lawn, he has been a fair prosecutor, and I have no doubt he'll do a fine job as a incoming judge. So at this point, Your Honor, the podium's yours.
Thank you, Larry. I know that you all know that my tenure as your village prosecutor ends this week. I asked to be put on the agenda simply so that I could come forth and say thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve the village for all these years. Truly, it was the highlight of my career to be an advocate and a voice for the village. But even more importantly, and a greater highlight for me, was to defend the great work that your police department does day in and day out. Truly, a highlight of my career was to stand next to those guys and support and defend the work that they do. So thank you again for this opportunity that you have given me. I know that you're in good hands moving forward, and that's all I have to say on that.
So when will you be official?
I get sworn in on Monday morning.
Good
Wow.
job. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Judge.
Add anything?
Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. Where are you going to practice?
I'd like to,
You get assigned yet?
No, no.
Okay, good luck.
So the question was he assigned? He said no.
Kevin and I are kind of shoestring relatives because my granddaughter and his daughter are good friends. So we see him at a lot of parties, and it's always a lot of fun.
Congratulations. Thank you, my friend.
Chief, anything you want to add?
I just would like to thank Kevin as well.
Could you speak into the microphone, sir? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to thank Kevin as well for, the kind words that he said about my people. I can say about him, because he's the guy that stands there and he's our voice, because we can't talk a lot of times, and he has to actually be the one that has to defend the cases and things. So thank you, Kevin. Enjoy your tenure. Hopefully it's uneventful. So enjoy. Well deserved.
Yeah, thank you, and best of luck to you, Judge Cunningham. Thank you. 10B, Larry?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Board. B would be a resolution that would approve the transition. I brought to the board's attention the meeting that I held with our outgoing prosecutor and Chief Palmer, and it's my recommendation to engage the services of PGM to serve as our village prosecutor going forward. The fee is consistent with the fee that is in place currently for our prosecutor.
Thank you. I'd like a motion, please, on
moved.
10B. Thank you, trustee Oliniechek
Second.
made that motion. Trustee Stalker is our second. I'm going to read that just to be clear for the record. 10B is Resolution 182477, a resolution approving a professional services agreement pertaining to village prosecutors. We had a motion and a second. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Two quick items following up on trustee Oliniechek and also on trustee Phelan. Regarding electrical aggregation, we had our first public information meeting here in the auditorium. There were four representatives from the firm that's going to be serving the village of Oak Lawn. There were 4 residents that showed up for that first information session. So anyone who contacts the board or contacts our office, we had some walk-ins today, asked questions. We have referred them to our consultant, who was very helpful and eager to assist any residents. Then regarding the changes in retail taxes as a whole, online buying and the future of online buying and automobiles and the apparent change that we're seeing. What trustee Phelan was referring to is our budget is going forward for fiscal year 2019, a $58 million budget. Of that $58 million, the number one source of revenue, so we do not have to use property taxes, and why the board's been able in the last few years to slightly reduce that levy, comes from sales tax, of which the primary source of those retail tax revenues come from the sales tax. 16 million of the 58 million. Putting that in context, the next source of revenue comes from property taxes, 13 million, and then that's followed by our share of your state income tax that gets rebated to Oak Lawn and other municipalities. And then my last comment, Mayor, is it's always great to see young men and women here from schools, except I do have a public service announcement for the gentleman wearing a Steelers sweatshirt. The last time I checked, this is Chicago Bears. And from a high school perspective, I'd like to congratulate the young women at Marist for their second year in a row winning the state volleyball championship, and that's quite a feat, as well as Mother McCauley, which consistently competes high at that level. And congratulations, we have clear representation on either side of the dais here tonight for Brother Rice, who performed very well in a close-knit but tough loss to Loyola. And congratulations to the Bulldogs of Richard, who made it to the quarterfinals. Just as we talked about young men and women in performing arts, also in athletics, in academics, our children are performing quite well. So I salute all of them. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Item 11 is the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are routine or have been brought forward at the direction of the Board of Trustees and will be enacted with one motion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. A is a request to approve the Planning and Development Commission referral to grant a special use permit to allow for a body art establishment at 5518 West 95th Street. This is a 5-1 vote to approve. Petition number 2018-33. Irma Macias is the petitioner. Is it Macias? Macias, thank you. I'll get names right someday. Macias is the petitioner in District 2. B is an ordinance granting that request. C is a request to approve the Planning and Development Commission referral to approve a 3-lot subdivision at 9205 South Melvina Avenue. This was a 6-0 vote to approve. 2018-7. Michelle Conzo is the petitioner in District 1, and D like David is an ordinance granting that request. E is ordinance 1824-82, an ordinance amending certain sections of Title 9, Chapter 4, Section 2 of the Oak Lawn Village Code entitled Rates and Charges. F is ordinance 1824-83, an ordinance amending Title 8, Chapter 5, Section 7A of the Oak Lawn Village Code entitled Charges for Village Collection. G is ordinance 1824-84, an ordinance amending certain sections of Title 7, Chapter 2 entitled Ambulance Services pertaining to ambulance service fees. H is ordinance 1824-85, an ordinance amending certain sections of Title 7, Chapter 5, entitled Fire Alarms, pertaining to a tiered system of fines for false fire alarms. I is ordinance 1824-86, an ordinance amending certain sections of Title 3, Chapter 1, entitled General Provisions for Businesses, Certificates, Licenses, and Permits pertaining to fire and safety inspection fees. J is ordinance 1824-87, an ordinance amending Title 3 of the Oak Lawn Village Code and adding Title 3, Chapter 30, entitled Self-Storage Accommodations Tax. K is resolution 1824-78, a resolution approving a medical billing services contract with Andres Medical Billing. L is resolution 1824-79, a resolution authorizing a professional services agreement with Christopher B. Burke Engineering Limited to perform certain engineering services pertaining to the 2019 street resurfacing program. M is resolution 1824-80, a resolution approving a one-year extension on the red light camera contract with Safe Speed. May I have a motion, please, on 11?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Stalker made that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Trustee Desmond. Any discussion?
Can I remove B for discussion?
Be like boy?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Move K and M, please.
Request to remove K and M. Okay. Any other discussion? So what we're voting on is everything on 11 except B like boy, K, and M like Mary. Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
11B is ordinance 1824-80, an ordinance granting a special use permit to allow for a body art establishment at 5518 West 95th Street. Irma Macias is the petitioner. May I have a motion on 11B?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Vorder made that motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Trustee Stalker, any discussion?
Is the owner of the prospective business here?
Yes, would you like to come up to the podium, please? Okay, okay. And this is Irma Macias. She's the petitioner. Okay.
I just, looking at the type of business it was and what you tend to do, could you just explain what your business is about?
Es tatuaje semipermanente en la ceja.
It's semi-permanent.
Can you speak into the microphone and state your name and let us know if you live in Oak Lawn, please?
Yeah, my name is Juan Morales, and I live in Justice, Illinois.
Okay.
And I'm her stepson. It's pretty much semi-permanent tattooing of the eyebrows, like microblading. Women get their like eyebrows like tattooed, like it's fine tattooing, so that I get it's like each individual hair is tattooed on to the eyebrow. I think it's lip liner in English. What the women put on the bottom of their lips also, semi-permanent.
Yeah, I just thought it was a unique business. I'd not seen it before.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to see if it's something that can help me with my image. And
That's good. Sure.
I think it would look very good on you.
She's not a miracle worker.
So it's not body art tattoos?
No, it's not. It's like eyebrows and
Bueno.
lip liner.
Trustee Vorder.
Yeah, I think it's important that we clarify that this is cosmetic, simply eyebrows and lips, correct? This is not body tattooing.
No.
And I do believe, Steve, that we have a couple of these already in our community, right? Yes. Yeah, even my own family have used them, not me.
It's okay if you did, Terry. Okay, any other discussion? Let's call the vote on 11B, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Strite?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations, thank you.
Welcome.
And then we have 11K, Resolution 182478, a resolution approving a medical billing services contract with Andres Medical Billing. May I have a motion on 11K, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, trustee Stalker made that motion. Do I have a second? Trustee Strite, any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I asked to
Phelan.
have this removed. The short version is going back to 2004, 2005, when we first looked at what our ambulance billings was. The fire department was handling it on their own, falling really far behind. You guys may recall who were here at the time. We found $1 million worth of bills in a closet that we then engaged with this company, Andres, who at the time, I think Brian and I talked about this, I think we're charging us 8% of the billings as their commission. And since that time, and I was gone for 4 of the years, Brian and I talked, each time we've gone back to them to ask about it, suggest maybe an RFP, the rate keeps coming down. It went 8, 6, 5, 4, now we're at 3.75. Now, we could look at that as a good thing, but the cynic in me says, if we'd have gone through an RFP when it was at 8, would we have captured the 8 minus 3.75 for the last 10, 15 years? So I know, Chief, I think you didn't have enough time to get your stuff together. I understand you're still new, but I do think we need to, at some point, I mean, it probably will not come back. I mean, this is probably a pretty competitive rate. But at the end of the day, I think it's incumbent upon us to finally do the RFP after 6 and 7 times of talking about it. I know Brian's committed to that. We have other things going on. I appreciate that, but I just want to make sure we get this somehow on the agenda to finally get it done.
And I spoke to Mike, once this contract is off, what the plan is to do it.
Okay,
This is 1 or 2 years.
what's the term of this one?
The term of this is 3 years,
We're going 3 years.
But if I may,
0.75, which is, it's in the tie.
Can you pass the microphone down, please? Thank you.
So 3 point.
So the city of Naperville did a study when they were looking at rates, and 3.75 puts us in the top 5 lowest in the Chicago region. When I first got here, it was 4%, and I went to the owners of Andres, and I just explained that I was a new chief here, and I would really appreciate another quarter point. And they had a conversation, and they were able to come down to 3.75. And I explained the Naperville study to them. So we're in a very low rate, but trustee, I agree with you. I mean, nothing stays permanent forever. So my recommendation to Finance Director Hannigan was that every 3 years, we go out for RFP and go out for bid and see where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's forever except this contract apparently, because this would be the 14th year we're into it. And again, I don't want to beat it to death. Every time we ask, they reduce. So are we touching bottom? Is there another point? And I understand a new company coming in is going to have entry costs that this company won't, but you never know until someone else gives you a bid. So I mean, the 3 years gives me a little bit of concern. I thought this was 1 year, but I realize that's the contract on camera.
Mayor, if I could, because I kind of take a different perspective on this issue. First of all, I wanted language changed, which PJM did get changed as far as what I'll call intellectual property or the database that Andres uses. And prior language in the contract would indicate that really belonged to Andres. In my contention, it does not. It's the Village of Oak Lawn. So we made those changes. There also is a provision here where we can terminate it prior to the 3 years. They have the ability to continue for 6 months in collection. That's a fair termination clause during the period of time. I think the fee is not the issue. It's the collection rate. So if we're collecting at 70 or whatever, and this is what the chief, I think, needs to look at, I'm more interested in collection level. Because if you were collecting at a higher rate, that's a higher return to the village than looking at just that fee of 70,000, 3.75. So I think we really, Andres is the leader in the field. They definitely are the big dog. They have the most contracts. But there are other players out there that use a different approach. And I think we need to look at the other players as well. And I know the chief agrees and is open to taking a hard look at alternative contracts and alternative methods of paying for the services, but an incentive to get more money for the village. Because clearly, we are not paying for our ambulance service. This is a system in the red, as we all know. It's broke.
Well, and again, I just want to make sure I'm clear. Is it our responsibility or the chief's? Because I'm happy the chief's open to the idea, but if it's our responsibility, at some point we have to do it.
I agree.
You know, and that's all I'm saying. And it's going to be 20 years next time we're up or close to it.
It is definitely our responsibility. The chief has taken the lead on this, and I just wanted to reiterate the fact that we do have a cancellation clause, okay? So this is a step in the right direction, but I agree with going out for bid on contracts like this, and we will do it.
Thank you. I'm going to call the vote, please, on 11K.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 11M, like Mary, is Resolution 182480, a resolution approving a one-year extension on the red light camera contract with Safe Speed. May I have a motion on 11M?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Desmond made that motion,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion here?
Yes, Mayor. In
Steve,
the similar vein, I just know the last budget meeting I was not able to attend, but Larry referenced the discussion about this. But I want to make sure, I know there was a lot of problems with this. Comfortable apparently that we're going to do this for another year. But the last you and I spoke about this, you were not happy with the company. I just wanted to make sure that you've gotten a little happier.
I shared with Trustee Phelan, I've had discussions with Mayor Sexton in Evergreen Park, and him and I share the same opinion. I want to keep the board aware of it. I think it's important. Our finance director has advised us as far as the budget and revenue, but I'm more interested in a fair return and also good service. I do think that their technology has been an advancement. The ability for a citizen to come in here into Village Hall and make a payment and view online, right in the foyer, right in the lobby, the violation or alleged violation has resulted in improved service. You don't have to wait for a long line, go before a judge, and then the judge shows you your violation, and then you pay. So they introduced that service. That was part of the contract. I give them credit for that. But I do have some concerns about the vendor.
Okay. Trustee Vorder.
Larry, can you share those concerns?
Well, first of all, they were not flexible at all in terms of the fee. And to me, Oak Lawn is one of their better customers, which I stress to them. And just as we've seen with Andres, I felt that a increase in the remuneration to the village, now that the program's been established, was a fair request to make, as did Mayor Sexton. And they were inflexible to both Evergreen Park and Oak Lawn. He didn't particularly like their attitude, nor did I.
And you're comfortable you resolved that?
No.
Well, which is why we have it's a one-year agreement with an option of the village to continue.
With the same revenue sharing agreement initially?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Let's call the vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
No.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
No.
Motion passes 4-2.
Thank you. 12 is Village Clerk's report. Jane?
Okay. Approval of semi-monthly disbursements, number 2018-22D, dated November 27th, 2018, in the amount of $1,797,304.38.
Thank you. May I have a motion on 12A, please?
Motion to pay the bills.
Thank you, trustee Warder. Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Stalker, thank you. Any discussion? Let's call the vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, 13 Village Presidents Report. I do have a few items. I want to thank our Special Events Committee and Tim for the Santa on the Green event. The weather was spectacular. We had a great turnout. Santa and Mrs. Claus arrived on schedule. I want to thank our fire department and police department for making sure they got here. We weren't sure because of weather, but every child was thrilled. It was smiles all around. To our Public Works Department, the green looked beautiful. Everything was great. Families had a good time, and this is a completely free event. Just wonderful. I want to thank the Chamber for partnering with the village. That happens to be Small Business Saturday, the day that Santa arrives, and so the Chamber had an event at the library that was very well attended. They had just about 800 people go down into the basement area and look at all the different booths and vendors, and there was a magic show. There were all kinds of activities, and everything free for those kids. What a great event, what a source of pride. And the chamber message is, shop Oak Lawn. It's critical. If every resident, and I say it all the time, if every resident just spent $100 extra in our community, it would go a long way to keep our stores open, our employment high, our taxes low. It just makes sense. If you have a choice of buying it in town or buying it on the internet or somewhere else, please shop Oak Lawn. If you haven't been to a store, check them out. You'd be amazed what you could find here. I'm always amazed. We have some wonderful new stores that just opened. Give them some business. I had the pleasure of going down the week before Thanksgiving with the Park District, the School District 123, and Chick from the village. We are the proud recipients of one of the highly coveted Governor's Hometown Awards. This is for a project that started with the Green Team, and we're going to talk about this more in the December meeting. But it started in the Green Team meeting, and it kind of flourished into a big community garden. And what a wonderful event. They were honored in the Governor's Mansion. It was very exciting. But I want to thank you for your leadership with that business meeting. Word is getting out about Oak Lawn. Our treasurer, Joe Skabinski, could not be here today due to a conflict. He also serves on the library board. But he was at the Village Green selling bricks for the gazebo bricks. Now, all of us have those people on our list who are impossible to buy for. They don't need anything, they don't want anything, but if you give them nothing, they're mad at you. and so it's a real problem. So for a very, very, very easy, affordable $25 cost, you can have a brick engraved with their name on it or whatever you want, so long as it's appropriate. And it'll be placed on the village green by the gazebo. So doing that, you'll beautify the village, you'll have a lasting testament, and it's just $25. We even have certificates. If you buy one, you could get a certificate to gift. And, these order forms will be online. They're available, and it's a great idea. A lot of the original gazebo bricks have deteriorated to such a degree that they do need replacing, so it's a great opportunity while they're going in there. I know I'm looking to buy several for my family, and I think it's a great idea. So look online for that. They'll have the information. Lindsay, your name's coming up an awful lot on this meeting. You really helped a lot with this too, and thank you very much. Lindsay was everywhere also for Santa on the Green, doing a great job. All of us were enjoying it, and she was very stressed out, just making sure it was all going well. But with that, I think that's all I had to talk about. Item 14 is a motion to adjourn. Trustee Oliniechek made that motion, seconded by Trustee Vorder. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes.
Thank you. We're adjourned at 8:25 PM. Thank you.